Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. My name is Garrett.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are your hosts. Movie Club is a show where we pick a movie every week and discuss it just like a book club. On today's show, our first video after the 100th episode, we are doing The Help, which is a period drama piece. Our thoughts and more coming up on Movie Club. Released in 2011, The Help was directed by Tate Taylor and stars Emma Stone, Viola Davis, and Octavia Spencer. An aspiring author during the civil rights movement of the 1960s decides to write a book detailing the African-American maid's point of view on the white families for which they work, and the hardships they go through on a daily basis. It's currently 246 on IMDb's Top 250 and has a 3.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd. The film was nominated for 3 Academy Awards, including Best Supporting Actress for Jessica Chastain, Best Actress for Viola Davis, and Best Picture. It won 1 Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for Octavia Spencer. Before we dive into our thoughts, we do want to issue a spoiler warning for the film. We're going to talk about everything that happens over the course of this movie, and we don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it, which I'm guessing we're both going to say is worth a watch for you. But if you haven't seen it yet, obviously, it's okay. Pause the video, then you can come back. But stay tuned to the end of the show to find out what movie we're covering next week because it is a truly special one. Alrighty, Kevin. So, The Help is this week's movie, and The Help was your choice.
Correct.
So, what made you choose The Help?
I remember enjoying it the first time I watched this. I don't know when I watched it though. That's the problem. But I remember watching this. I think it was with my mom or something like that. So, watching it, and I wanted to rewatch it to see if I still had the same feelings and different perspective on it. And we'll get into that once we get our spoiler alert going. But I really enjoyed it the first time, and I was seeing if I would enjoy it the second time as well.
Gotcha. So actually, funny enough, I had never actually seen this movie. I had only seen it, or I knew of the story though because I had read it in high school.
Okay.
And I don't know if you read the book in high school, but I read the book in high school, and I remember enjoying it well enough while I was there, and then. When the movie came out, it came out actually, I think the year I read it in high school, which is kind of odd.
Oh, weird.
I have a history of that happening. But I never actually watched it because it wasn't like out in time for us to watch in class or whatever. But I know that Octavia Spencer had won the award for it, and I had never actually seen the film. But I vaguely remembered oh no, wait, no. We didn't read this. I just realized we read The Secret Life of Bees, I think. Hold on.
I don't know.
I need to actually look this up now. Maybe we read this one too in a history class or something. No,
Maybe,
Secret Life of Bees was the one. Yes. That one. Yeah, that because it's basically the same time period, same like concept. I can't believe I got those mixed up. Yeah, so I actually have never heard anything about this movie before, but I knew that it was nominated and had won an award. But let's go ahead, get to some kind of initial thoughts. I enjoyed this movie far more than I thought I was going to.
And I enjoyed it maybe a little bit more than the first time that I watched it, just because looking at it from a movie perspective now and not just a history perspective, if I would say.
Yeah, and I think that it's interesting because I think that there are a lot of these movies that are made to try and please a certain audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I specifically am relating that to trying to feel like, oh, there's racial harmony and they're trying to please, like white audiences so they don't feel guilt, right? Mm-hmm. I think of movies like Green Book, which are like that, right? Like the white man and the black man come together and become friends over the course of the movie during like some of those can get really pandering. This movie did not do that.
No.
And I really appreciated that.
I love how, I mean, we'll get into spoilers and everything like that, but the women of color in this movie are perfect, I feel like. absolutely perfect. And even the I'm gonna call them the white women, but the the other
That's
actresses
so
in
much
this
better.
movie, I know, but it's the other actresses in this movie are also fantastic on what they do because of how snooty they are towards the uh female of color in this movie. And I don't
Hmm.
know, I feel very, when I first watched this, I felt very uncomfortable because again, we come from a generation that I mean, I certainly do not do this, but it's always frowned upon in our generation about, you know, race and everything like that. So watching it for the first time and the second time, I didn't feel uneasy, but I felt like, oh, this is like just so wrong to watch and how they were talking to them.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's one of those things where we have to watch it. We
Mm-hmm.
have to remind ourselves how bad things were. And I think a lot of movies sanitize it
Mm-hmm.
to try and be more massly appealing.
Yeah.
Things like Green Book, for example. But like this shows, I mean, I will say some of it is watered down a little bit. I would say it's not watered down. I would say it's more tasteful and reserved.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's more
but like,
PG-13 than R.
yeah, exactly. Like we see the stuff that happens. We see the maid who's arrested for stealing or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like very vibrantly. We see, um, we hear about the man who was shot by the KKK in the middle of the street.
Mm-hmm.
As Viola Davis is going home, and we see all the things that happen to the maids and to the help, as they're called, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that the villain, or I would say the antagonistic character
Yeah.
of the movie, is literally introducing a bill to make their bathrooms separate, which really echoes current, you know, bathroom politics for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like, it's incredibly demeaning. Like, oh, they carry different diseases
Mm-hmm.
than we do. And it's
But
so gross.
it is. It's disgusting. But again, back in those times, that's what people thought, unfortunately,
Yeah.
and that's what they had to go through. And I liked how you said this doesn't like I don't this doesn't beat around the bush. It's not like, oh, we said this, but we're actually really good friends and stuff like that. This one's like, no, you can see that they despise each other. Um, um, the whites and the blacks despise each other in this movie, and
Hmm.
Emma Stone's character is trying to just she just wants to know. That's the thing, and I love how I don't she's so middle ground in this movie, but it works in this movie because you get to see both sides play out, of what the whites think and then what the colored people think as well.
Hmm.
And she's just there jotting everything down. She doesn't give her own opinions in some situations. She's just there to kind of look out for everybody, and she just wants to write the book. And I absolutely love that with her because they could have definitely done with Emma's character is persuade you to like a certain, like, they could have persuaded you to like the colored actors and actresses in this movie, but they don't. It's just straight down the middle, and you get to see the goods and you get to see the bads, and I really enjoy that actually.
Yeah, and I do think that obviously the movie makes the characters sympathetic.
Mhm. Mhm.
I would say it wants you to be on their side, but it's not manipulative,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
It's more so showing things as they are, and then you sympathize or empathize with them. It's not like the movie's trying to be completely
No.
like this whatever. Like, no, it's telling a story for sure. And to see the ways, I just want to get this out in the open right now. The shit pie is fantastic.
It's so funny. So funny.
What's even better about that scene is the mom cracking up when she realizes what happened. Which is
Mhm.
interesting because like that character did some racist things throughout the movie,
Yep.
but then absolutely loves what the character did with that, and
Mhm.
literally it ends up with her having to live in a home,
Yep.
which is horrible. Bryce Dallas Howard is a great antagonist in this movie.
She
She
is.
plays the character so like you hate her.
Oh yeah, and there's no like sympathy for her at all in this movie. You're just like,
No,
yeah, this is the one that's gonna. You're like, holy crap! Like she needs to go.
it's
Like, and that
interesting
it's
because at
good.
the beginning of the movie, I felt some little bit of sympathy or empathy, and then like they literally just do everything they can to strip that away and rip it away from you until you
Mm-hmm.
just hate her. And then they I would say anything they strip away, they put into other characters, which is
Yes.
really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was. I will say it was really nice to see. I forget the guy who became the boyfriend or whatever. Um,
Chris Lowell.
yeah,
Is
Stewart, I think is his name.
Stewart. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How like he went from like just an asshole to being like, you know what? No, I was an asshole and I'm sorry. Which I
Yeah.
don't think you see a lot of guys do in real life, let alone the
Nope.
movies,
Nope.
right? So that was kind of nice to see. And then also it felt that way. It also kind of felt realistic when he leaves Skeeter
Mm-hmm.
because she publishes the book,
Yeah.
which I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like it felt very grounded. But I do want to say one more thing about this, which is I love that this movie is so primarily women focused.
Yeah.
There
Mm-hmm.
are like no, there's really not a lot of speaking roles for men in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. I
Yeah.
feel like, I
Well,
think that's so uncommon.
especially for 2012 2011, yeah,
Yeah.
2011 too. Like nowadays you would be like, wow, an all female cast would be fantastic, but back then you're like, no, like there's not a predominant like male figure in this movie. There
Yeah.
are male figures in this movie, but they're not like j- uh, I could have told I could have forgotten a lot of these male actors in this movie. Maybe not
Hmm.
like all of them, but um a lot of them I was like, oh yeah, I remember. He's in this movie. Totally forgot though.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do want to say shout out to the best character, the best man character in the movie, which is Jessica Chastain's husband at the end of the movie. Um, she's like the airbrained girl,
Oh,
and then her husband comes home and finds Minnie there. He's like, "No, you've so thoroughly helped my wife. Like you work here forever. Like and
yeah,
you have a home here," which is like that moment was so nice because I was expecting that guy to be a total piece of shit, right?
yeah.
Because Jessica Chastain's like, "No, I need to prove I'm a good." What's Jessica Chastain's character's name? It's Celia.
Celia.
And Celia's like, "Oh, I need to be like a good wife or whatever." And like, no, it is. It was such a heartwarming moment, and like
Hmm.
also like very. I just gotta say I loved Celia's character. I thought she was so
Hmm.
very special in this movie. Like, and it like even like the easy little things, right? Like she goes to join Minnie at the table. Minnie's like, no, you gotta wait in the dining room. She's like, no, I'm gonna eat here. Just like those
Yeah.
little things. I don't know why it just like the character really clicked for me. I mean, all the characters are great in this. You
Hmm.
know, I will say that I think that uh, I kind of think Emma Stone is like the least good here.
No, yeah, because again, she doesn't show. Well, okay, she shows emotions, but
Yeah,
it has to be
plenty.
so right in the middle. Because again, they don't want you to sway left or right. Because I mean, It's, I don't know. It's just she's an author, so I don't know if
Yeah,
she wants to show emotions towards one side to get a worse book out of it, if that makes sense.
sure. She's the daughter that went off to school, and like many people that go to college, maybe became a little bit more liberal, and then came home and had issues with the way things were going on. Obviously, at this point in time, there's not a lot you could do.
Mhm. Mhm.
Especially when there's a group of white guys driving around in hoods trying to kill people they don't agree with, right?
Yep.
But like, it's the little acts of rebellion that
Yeah.
are so wonderful to see. And I'm not saying that by any means she's bad. She is
No. No.
still great in this movie, but she's the least good,
Yeah.
I think,
She
of the
she's
main cast.
yeah, she's the least that show emotion and that I feel for in this movie. Like
Sure.
the other ones I'm like Celia, so
Mhm.
you can feel her emotions a lot
Oh
more,
yeah,
and you can she shows it in her face a lot more as well.
yeah.
So, hmm
And especially, oh man, the failed pregnancy scene
Oh,
was
there
heartbreaking.
heartbreaking. But then it was so nice to have. Was it Minnie that was
Minnie,
there with her? Yeah, Minnie was there with her, and it wasn't one of her white friends, and that's what made
yeah,
it even
because she didn't
better.
have any
Exactly,
friends. Yeah.
exactly. And even though I knew it was coming up, I still not forget, but I'm like, man, like how different would it have been if she was there by herself going
Hmm.
through this. And but no, Minnie was there just right by her side the entire time, and I thought, oh, so good,
And
so
let's
good.
talk Minnie for a second.
Hmm.
The Oscar-winning role for this movie, so well deserved.
Yeah, I mean, Viola could have taken it as well. I feel like
Yeah, I'm
because
curious who won that year. Let me check. That year, Best Actress went to Meryl Streep in The Iron Lady, but I don't. Maybe I probably would have given it to Viola Davis.
mhm.
Um, but man, like, I mean, Viola Davis is very good in this movie. Don't get me wrong. Octavia Spencer overshines
Oh yeah,
her
oh yeah.
by a Cuban mile. I guess you could
Hmm.
say we're getting some Fast and Furious there. Uh, she's so funny, but like she's also like the way she fights back about things, her sassiness, like when she comes to finally help Skeeter with the book,
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
great. You know,
It's like she shows how sassy she is and she shows her emotions, but in like a kiddish kind of way as well, like making everybody laugh and just like giving you I don't want to say false hope, especially when she comes help with Skeeter's book. It's just like, will she do it? Because she has so many jokes, or she makes everything so funny that it's like, does she want to be kind of serious in this moment? And
yeah,
I I absolutely love Minnie in this movie.
yeah,
Just
easy
perfect.
character. I would say her and Celia are my favorite characters in this movie, and
And
they're combined.
they're
My favorite.
and the two of them together. So and then when you get to that freaking pregnancy fail, and it's like it hits you, and you're like, that's why, because these two characters are just so good together.
And it was earned. Like
Mm-hmm.
that moment was earned, and that's the sign of a good script. Obviously, I believe this is based on a book as well. Um, yeah, it's based on the book. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it's really well done. If there's anything I want to criticize about the movie, though, I will say that I think the first act for the movie does drag a little bit.
It's a slow first act, I feel like.
It definitely takes a while to get going, and this is a longer movie than you'd expect. It's
Two
like
hours and
it's
30
about
minutes.
2.5 hours ish, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it does get a little slow at
Mm-hmm.
points, but it has a lot of ground to cover and a lot
Yeah.
that it has to show you to warrant what happens later in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then also there's a couple of like one of the big things for me is that there's a couple of lacking explanations.
Okay.
So Skeeter's mother, who's wonderfully played by Allison Janney,
Mm-hmm.
um, is kind of like she's not like a hateful woman by any means,
Mm-hmm.
but like she doesn't allow her help to watch like the news coverage or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and she's not exactly like the nicest person in the world. But then all of a sudden it feels like she had a personality switch when Skeeter puts her book out, which kind of felt a little rushed.
I don't think it felt rushed. I think that she wanted to support her daughter, but then reading what her daughter wrote about, she kind of had like an epiphany, kind of like, oh my
I could
gosh.
see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that being it. But the other thing that obviously this is a movie, so we don't see or kind of hear or get things explained as much as like a book does. But that we're never told like how or why the children that these maids end up raising end up hating them afterward.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Skeeter is different. Skeeter remembers her maid very well,
Yes.
and respects her and almost loves her, right? But like all these characters, like I think Aibileen raised Bryce Dallas Howard's character,
I think so. Yeah.
or Minnie did, or one of them. But like then they hate him, like and then like obviously, you know, nurturing. And once the mother gets a hold, they start learning about how the way of the world or whatever at the time. But I would have liked a little bit more exploration of that
As to
idea.
like what changed in the kid to
Yeah,
become like such a big douche to
exactly.
to these people in
Yeah,
simpler terms, because yeah,
sure.
like if a woman raises you since you've been a kid, why are you gonna just turn your back towards them and treat them like absolute crap? Like, it doesn't make any
Exactly.
sense.
I, you know, I like I think about the scene whenever Abilene is with the little girl in this movie and does
Hmm.
the whole "you is smart, you is kind, you is important."
Hmm.
Like that is incredible. I need to remember that every time I go through my depression bouts. Like,
Hmm.
I need Viola Davis to be here and tell me that.
But
um,
it's just simple three sentences that
yep.
it just throughout the whole movie you sometimes not sometimes throughout the whole movie you get those little three sentences, and it kind of, I don't want to say it resets your mind a little bit, but it kind of gives you that like you're a kid again and someone is giving you like a word of advice or a sentence that you've
Yeah.
heard so many times, and it kind of calms you down.
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of like
Hmm.
the whole Hulk and Black Widow thing,
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
sun's getting low or whatever.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to bring up is that I think, we talked earlier about how these kind of movies can be made to alleviate white guilt or to try and make it things seem like everything's okay when it really wasn't, right?
Yeah.
I think that this movie does the smart thing of making the maids and their stories the focus.
Hmm.
And like obviously in any other world, Skeeter and Emma Stone would have been the main character.
Oh, no doubt.
And in some ways, I guess she is, right? Because she's the one hearing everything and we're getting exposed to it. But it focuses on the maid stories and the little ways that they rebelled and the lives that they go through. And I think that's what's the important part of the movie.
I can see I can see as Skeeter being a narrator, and
Yeah.
she's
That's a great way to
narrating
put it.
the help.
Yeah.
She's there when you need her, but when you don't need her, you're with the help a lot of the time. So.
Yeah. 100%.
Mhm.
All right, Kevin. So this was your pick this week. Let's go ahead and hear what you have to say, your final thoughts and score.
I mean, final thoughts and score are going to be pretty good for me because I really enjoyed this movie the second watch around. I mean, Viola Davis and Octavia Spencer are perfect in this movie, I feel like, and there's some other really good actresses in this movie that shine above the male actors in this movie, which is fantastic. Love to see that. The story is really good and well driven. If you haven't watched this before, might be a tough watch for your first time, just to let you know, but it's very important to watch it because it is such an emotional roller coaster of a ride, with some comedy, some drama. But I thought this, again, second time around, fantastic. So I gave The Help 85 out of 100, which is relates to 4 stars out of 5.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
For me, I thought this movie was. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. Like I knew I was going to enjoy parts of it, but and I was honestly questioning. I was like, why is The Help on the top 250?
Hmm.
Of all movies. But I'm glad we checked it out. I think that you know this was a movie that felt like it was going to be the odd one out
Yeah.
from the movies that we typically cover on here. But it is a really I hesitate to say fun movie because there's a lot that's not fun about it, but like they
Hmm.
do make it fun, and I think that the characters are so good. The story is really well told. I just would have liked a little bit more explanation on things that they talk about in the movie, because it is a longer movie. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more explanation. And then obviously the first part of this movie really kind of drags a little bit until it kind of gets kicked into gear. But other than that, I think the movie is a really fun film, and I would highly recommend it to anyone looking for something to watch if you haven't seen it. So I give it an 85 out of 100, which is
Oh.
4 stars out of 100. So that's going to be it. But the question now falls to you. What do you think of The Help? We'd love to hear your comments down in the comments section down below. Just remember to be respectful of one another. Don't be a don't be a Bryce Dallas Howard to someone else's Viola Davis. And next week, very excited. We're going to be taking a look at the indie animated film It's Such a Beautiful Day. which I'm very excited to talk about. Make sure to watch it before next week so you aren't spoiled. And that's it. Remember, our live streams go live every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and this show goes live every single Friday at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, including this. This one will go live on 4th of July. So don't blow your hands up with fireworks, please.
I don't want to see you at urgent care or anything like that, please.
There you go. Neither does my brother. So anyhow, have a fantastic holiday. If you watch this on 4th of July, if it's past the holiday, what are you doing? I don't know. I hope you have a good day. But there you go. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, make sure to keep those eyes on the screen.